Hello, everyone. This is Corey Doggs of Action Coach, and I'm excited to have Neal Zygarlicke, CEO of the LaCrosse Area Chamber of Commerce, with us today. Neal has led the chamber since November of 2020. The LaCrosse Chamber unites more than 600 businesses in the LaCrosse area to help cultivate a strong business community and local economy. He also started a passion project / side business for culture consulting, strategic planning, and speaking engagements. He has a passion for leadership and culture, and it is called the Full Court Vision. Prior to taking on his role as CEO of the Chamber, Neal served as a property executive and internal audit manager for First Supply in LaCrosse, where he led the internal audit department, overseeing audits for 47 facilities across the Midwest. And he implemented an innovative culture audit, positively shifting company behaviors. He holds a master's degree of business administration with an emphasis on servant leadership from Viterbo University. His passion for service and love for the LaCrosse community extends beyond his role as CEO of the Chamber, as he and his wife, Whitney, are both active in the community. Neal is a Viterbo Alumni Association Emeritus Board member. He serves on the Board of Directors for Habitat for Humanity LaCrosse and is an active Rotarian. Neal, Whitney, and their fur child, Seda May, reside in the city of LaCrosse. Something unique about Neal: he enjoys creating or trying to create fun and unique cocktails. Favorite downtime activities, and it's just Neal and his wife and their dog, so any time spent with them is great. They like to get out hiking, biking, going on walks, and maybe grab a beer and some food and an outdoor patio. Something he's most proud of? He's most proud of the relationship that he has with his wife, Whitney. They balance each other well and have supported each other so much throughout their careers. He's really proud of the ways they've grown together. So with that, it's my pleasure to welcome Neal to the show today. Hello, Neal.
Hey, Corey, thanks for having me today. Awesome to be here.
All right. So now we want to jump into the interview part. So I'll ask you some questions and we'll go with that. So number one, tell us a bit about your personal story, where you were born, kind of your personal journey to where you're at today.
Sure, absolutely. I grew up in Marshfield, Wisconsin, which is dead center of Wisconsin. Grew up with an older brother, two parents, and ended up going to Columbus Catholic High School. And if people know what Columbus High School is, it's a great school with a tradition of athletics. So I grew up in an athletic family. With running cross country, track, and basketball. Ended up graduating from there, went to Viterbo University, where I also played college basketball for 3-4 years, and then got into coaching and stayed in LaCrosse. So Viterbo's in LaCrosse, and I started here as a young professional working for First Supply, was there for almost 9 years. And just decided to up and kind of leave the private business and get into the nonprofit world with the Chamber of Commerce. And a part of that passion was just because I wanted to make a bigger impact on people and leadership and leaders in our areas. But also it's just that I love the LaCrosse area. I love our area, the surrounding people, the businesses. So I thought it was a great opportunity. So yeah, that's kind of my personal short story of where I came from and where I am today.
All right. Next question. You talked about kind of your passion project. When did you start it, and what made you decide to start it?
Yeah, it's been something that's kind of been in the back of my head, and my wife helped me out tremendously with it. But it's been in the back of my head for a couple of years, and really what came about it for the full court vision is to really just make a bigger impact. I do some speaking engagements for the Chamber of Commerce, but wanted to get out and just make a bigger impact at a deeper level for some organizations. I usually like to tell some inspiring stories. I think I have a unique way about looking at culture from an organizational standpoint and how to evaluate that. So that's something that started, but really didn't become more formalized until about 2 months ago. So May and June of 2024 is really when it kind of launched. So excited just to have that opportunity to do that and make an impact in a different way.
So, and then you mentioned basketball's been a big part of your life and mine also, playing and coaching. So I like how you have full court mixed into that.
Yeah, the kind of the background behind the full court vision, is from a defensive perspective, right? If you put on a press, full court press defense, it's usually that you're being active, you're being proactive and not reactive, and your team has to have amazing vision as teammates and as collaborators to have a good defense that causes disruption against the offense. And really, that's kind of the thought process behind it. Is you got to have a great vision, you got to have great communication in leadership, and I think that that's important.
Okay, so staying on the full court vision business, who's your target market? Like, who do you look to serve with that business?
Yeah, it's usually I'd say medium to small businesses from more of a culture review and evaluation standpoint. I think some of the larger businesses would be interested in some more public speaking and speaking engagements and things like that. So it's a little bit all over the place, but mostly the strategic planning standpoint is going to be those medium to small businesses. And the culture review is a little bit easier from those medium to small businesses to really make true impactful recommendations and really move the needle after I'm done working and consulting with them.
Okay. We'll talk about the chamber in a bit, but I'm going to stay on full court vision for a few minutes yet.
Sure.
So when did you realize that you had the confidence that you could start this thing up and do it on your own?
I think part of it was going back to working at First Supply as an internal auditor. They had 47 different facilities and I did compliance, operational and financial audits for them. And I really learned how to lean into and listen to what the family ownership and the C-suite and directors want. But then I'd spend a lot of time with the people on the front lines, and sometimes those communications didn't always align, and a lot of times I found myself in between the two. So really, that was a part of it. I thought I did a really good job between the two to the point where the frontline managers would be interested and wanted to have an auditor come to their facility to see how they were doing. They wanted to be evaluated. And I thought that that was super interesting. And I think that that was something that I brought to the table, that I was open, honest, communicated well. So that was a part of it. And then the other part of it was from a culture review standpoint. I had the opportunity and was given the autonomy just to kind of evaluate our culture. And how do you do that? So built some systems from the ground up and made it catered just to their business. And in my head, I thought, you could do this across other industries and other organizations as well. So I kind of got that experience and said, I can make an impact and help other organizations by doing this, as a side project and passion project on my own. So why not do it?
Yeah. Culture is so, so important. It's the backbone of any organization, business, et cetera. So interesting that you're able to kind of weave the audit into that component, that's great. Because how do you measure culture? Well, it's behaviors and certain values and some of that, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a firm believer that kind of the values and behaviors that you put on the wall and that you talk about, there's ways to evaluate those. And there's ways to maybe put data and information around them that you maybe haven't thought of. And that's really a part of kind of my review and evaluation process that I like to go through.
Looking back, what would you do differently or change if you could go back to the beginning of your career, like after college?
Yeah, I think about from my college experience, that's really the first time that I was introduced to servant leadership. Viterbo University is one of the only universities in the world that has like a master's degree for servant leadership. So I think that that was really influential to me, but and has always been a part of me. And I think I would like to go back and spend a little bit more time with those values and adopting those into day-to-day practices a little bit earlier. That's something that I would change. I mean, the other thing that I would change as a young professional is just advocating for yourself. You have to let people know some of the good work that you're doing and advocate for yourself. And I think young professionals sometimes are a little scared to do that, are a little shy or timid. But that's one of the most important ways to continue to make connections, meet new people, and also, show people that you're bringing value to the company. You have to advocate for yourself.
All right, thank you. What's a common myth out there about being the CEO of a company and or business owner that you want to dispel?
That that you have to be like really hard lined, that you have to be like really tough in situations. I completely disagree. I'd say I'm pretty empathetic. I'm compassionate, and I think that that's important in building trust with your people. And that a lot of times is the soft stuff within how you talk to people. Um, I think that that's just incredibly important. Yes, there are times you absolutely have to be really, really tough. And you have to have tough conversations. And sometimes you have to be strict about it. But a lot of times, if you move towards empathy, it builds a lot more trust. It builds the the relationships that you need to really move an organization forward to really kind of move the needle on the business too. I'm a firm believer in that.
Right. What is one or a few of the most interesting insights you've learned or advice you've received in the recent past that is worth sharing today?
I think some of the best advice is just continue to communicate. Um, and communicate to the point where people can look at you and say, "Hey, Neal, I got it. I understand. I know what you're talking about." I'd rather have someone say that to me than have them say, "Oh, I didn't quite understand that," or there wasn't much communication around that, so this is why I made the decision. So I think if you can be crystal clear on communication, that's extremely helpful. And I'll be the first one to say that I got a long ways to go. Communication, I think, can be a root of almost all problems at some point in time, and it really can hinder. So if you can get more crystal clear on things, that's really helpful. Um, the other thing that I've heard from a couple of people, one of the really prominent business owner, Don Weber, here in LaCrosse, who helped build LHI and a number of other businesses in LaCrosse. He's always spoken about, it's about the people. It's about the people that are working for you. It's about the people that are in your community. Keeping that in the back of my mind is always something that I try to do.
I would like to say that communication is the response you get, right? So if you don't get the result that you expect, like look in the mirror and say, how did I communicate? How could I communicate better next time, right?
Right. Absolutely.
What is something new that you want to learn outside of work?
Outside of work, I've something new that my wife and I are trying is golf. I didn't grow up golfing. I've done it maybe 7 to 10 times in my entire life, and trying to learn that type of new physical skill is it's difficult, and let me tell you, it's humbling. I don't even know if I'm confident in it yet enough to actually go shoot a full game of 18 holes or anything like that, but just getting used to it. So that's something new and fun. Other things I try to do, I try to just read a couple books here and there, to try to just stay on top of different aspects or methods around leadership. So I continue to do that. Just trying to think if there's anything new else that I've tried lately, but nothing's coming quite to mind other than golf.
Okay. Um, Talking about full court vision, where's your number one area of growth and development with that? If you got to pick one.
Yeah, I think the biggest area of growth and development is really narrowing down a little bit more of a niche market. It's kind of open right now, and I have a lot of connections in the state of Wisconsin that I'll be able to lean on. But really narrowing it down to the product and what's going to be the best fit. I do think the medium-sized businesses are, but it might start to be an industry. And I don't think I'm going to necessarily know that until I start to see it a little bit more. Um, but I think that there's a good opportunity for growth there. Right now, it's a side project, so I'm not
Mhm.
hoping to take on a ton of
Yeah.
hours or a ton of clients. I can be selective. But I do think that there's an opportunity to really broaden it and broaden the message kind of beyond the kind of our LaCrosse area in the state of Wisconsin and maybe broaden it out a little bit more.
All right, so now let's shift to the chamber. Tell us
Yeah,
a little bit more about the chamber and your role there. And you've got almost 600 members, so that's a big chamber.
yeah. Yeah, chamber with 600 different members. We have businesses in all different industries, small, medium, large, public, private, nonprofit. Um, Really, it covers all of LaCrosse County and some of the greater LaCrosse area community. And, we've done a great job as a Chamber of Commerce just continuing to grow our organization. When I started, we had 4 full-time people. We're now up to 8, and
Doubled.
I'm coming up on 4 years here. So, we've doubled in 4 years, which is awesome. Our engagement has been high. Some of the areas that we focus on is really talent attraction, getting people just to come and work here and live here. It's a great place to live, lots to do, great outdoor things in the area. And we just want people to experience that and thrive here. So we spent a lot of time on that. We've spent a lot of time on leadership education. We have some training courses and professional education that we do, as well as some pretty large conferences that really help medium to small sized businesses or middle managers kind of grow their skill set or learn new insight in certain topical areas. We're really, really proud of that. And then we've also launched a lot more small business resources and programs for our small businesses because well over half of our businesses are considered small businesses where it's 25 employees or less. So those are some of the good things that we have going on at the chamber, and I'm just honored to be a part of the chamber and to lead a wonderful, wonderful team of people and individuals.
So what's the next big thing for the chamber?
We've gotten into a little bit more of government relations, just working with our, city, county, just to get the word out on some new items. But I think we have a program here that's called the First Friend Program. And it really, what companies do is they pay us a fee to work with people who are relocating to the area that don't maybe know LaCrosse. They don't know what we all have to offer, but we get to sit down with them and do a personalized kind of questionnaire and get to know them a little bit. And then we do a community tour and we get them connected to things that matter to them, whether it be religion, if they have any diverse background needs, if their kids have needs at schools, or they need a yoga studio or a karate class, or they just need to know where the good nightlife is. We do all of that in a really way that's really meaningful to these families and these people so that they want to stay in LaCrosse, so that they don't move here and then want to move somewhere else in the next year or two. So that program is extremely effective. And it's kind of we hang our hat on that program here.
What a great resource. Yeah, so that's called First Friend.
Yep, called First Friend. We actually have 2 full-time people now on our staff that are working within that program. That's how successful it has been.
Oh, wow. So if someone wants to learn more about that in the chamber, how would they find that information?
Yeah, they can head on to lacrossechamber.com, and then there should be a section that says First Friend on our website. And you'll be able to find more information around what we do there.
And what about full court vision? What if someone wanted to learn more about that? Is there any more
Yeah,
you know?
go to thefullcourtvision.com. That's the website that we have for kind of those speaking engagements and the culture consulting and any of the wonderful things that we can do from a strategic planning standpoint.
What advice do you have for business owners who are trying to do it all on their own?
Yeah, this is something that I've learned along the way, especially in going from a, first supply where I was working before had, 500, 600 employees down to, we started with 4 and now we're at 8 here at the chamber. You got to spend time as a small business. You got to spend time outside of the business. As an owner operator, you're hands-on, you're in the weeds, you're just keeping things going. If something breaks down, you're the one fixing it. As much as you don't really want to step away from that, you have to. You have to take time. I encourage people quarterly to get out of their business and really think about what do we need to do over the next 90 days to accomplish this goal. And then let's write it down, let's go after it and get it done. And then you do another 90 days and you sit down and have the exact same thing. That's the quote of kind of get out of your business and work on your business.
All right, now just start wrapping up. Obviously, we've all had influencers and mentors on our journeys. So here's your chance to give some shout outs to people that have helped you get where you are today. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'll give a couple of shout outs. My parents were extremely influential, just great people. My dad was my coach in track and cross country and in my younger years in basketball, so I got to spend a lot of extra time with him. He was always just a really great mentor, a role model. My mom is an extremely good listener, and I think she's absolutely awesome in that regard and from a listening standpoint. From kind of a business perspective, I already mentioned Don Weber, but he's one of them that's been really influential to me. Had Tom Thibodeau was a professor at Viterbo University, who is probably I think he's the guru and one of the greatest speakers and inspiring people when it comes to servant leadership. He's been very influential on my wife. And then last, I got to say my wife, she pushes me to be a better person in every single regard in my life, whether it's work, whether it's family stuff, whether it's just me being me, she pushes me to be a better person. And I wouldn't be where I am today without having that kind of life partner along for the ride and with me. And she's an extremely successful and wonderful professional as well. So that helps me out from the aspect of we get to have conversations and bounce kind of business ideas and professional ideas around and lean on each other in that way. And it's just really wonderful to have that support.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today, but it was a pleasure talking with you and getting to know you and more about the chamber and Full Court Vision. So thanks for being on the show.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, Corey. I appreciate it.